Are you that agent that's always on the hunt for more leads, thinking about changing brokerages because, this brokerage doesn't give you enough leads, you're not as successful as you thought you might be? Stop right there. We're going to talk about what you need to do before you pay one more dime for a lead. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane, Real Estate Agent Playbook. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. If you're listening on the road, I absolutely appreciate you guys as well. Want to build that community up. If you're so inclined, please leave a review. So today we're going to talk about leads, and I honestly hate the word leads. I think that a lot of coaches and gurus kind of coach that you have to have leads or, you're going to leave the business. Obviously, I know you need conversations and I know you need ways to generate business. Today, we're going to talk about what you need to do before you continue to pay leads and continue to chase those leads and make changes to your business, based on brokerages promising this and promising that, because it's not about the lead, it's about you and the conversion behind it. So stay tuned. We're going to dive into that right now. And it's a rat race, I'm going to tell you right now. Chasing these leads, it's constantly pounded in your head. You must lead generate, you must prospect, you must do all that. I'm not saying that's not absolutely the case. I like the word prospecting a lot more than lead generation, because if you really step back and think about it, you have to work harder for a 1 or 2% success rate. 1 or 2% success rate is absolutely not the best use of your time. So now let's talk about conversion rate. Let's develop a system and process before you just, need the leads. These are the best leads. This is that, whatever. These are the best conversion leads, because leads are constantly changing, right? Zillow leads have crushed, then they suck. Then they crush again, they mostly suck, right? And so you have to understand that those lead generations and, relying on a third party, algorithms are always changing, community's always changing, whatever. So, what worked a month ago might not work anymore. So really it's about conversion, right? Lead generation is just data collection. And if we can take that data and we can execute and convert, regardless of where the lead came from or where the introduction came from, it'll change your business forever in a much better, rate than a 98, 99% failure rate, because that's what's on the other side of that 1% success rate. The next thing that drives me nuts is the word blueprint. Let's be real. There is no blueprint for success. You can take a blueprint, put your own stamp on it, and absolutely crush it. But I can't hand you one way to build my business here in Littleton, Colorado, and expect you to do it exactly the same. You're a different personality, you have different work ethic, you have different, aspirations. So those blueprints for success are absolutely not the key. And that's why I kind of talk a lot about, game plan for success. And when I definitely, talk to agents who are sick of chasing leads, or maybe even are like, I need more leads, joining our group is a completely different aspect, right? I'm able to come to you. We're able to generate an exact game plan based on your personality on a one-to-one basis versus here's my blueprint, pay for my course, here you go, like shoving it at you. We have that relationship. We're now partners, so we can help build something together. So if you're interested in that, reagentwolfpack.com, I'd be happy to chat with you about how I'm helping agents build a game plan for their success based on their desires, not mine. And I'll give you a little insight. Where we start is, what have you had success with in the past, right? Where did you have those relationships that converted into a sale or converted even into a friendship, right? If you're a new agent, was it through DMs on Instagram? Was it through, a text message? Was it through going to meetup events? Where have you developed those relationships that you can count on for future business, and how have you done it, right? Let's look at that, right? If you had great success building your business through DMs or building a group through DMs, like, let's go to DMs and let's do that, because that tells me about your personality. And so if we're able to, do that, not only are you going to do it more comfortably because it's more in your comfort zone, but you're going to do it more consistently because we do what we're more comfortable with. So now, once we have that, once we have your, superpower, your super connector, vehicle, then we can build it into CRM. Then we can build it into true follow-up. Then we can expand on, taking it from the DMs to, a text and email and all of those things to, an in-person meeting. And so we do that by plugging things into our CRM, building that system out and expanding on our reach, right? As always, like, okay, yeah, we're buddies. We hang out, at when this one friend's in town and we have that connection, but we wait till the friend comes back in town to reconnect. No, okay, we've made that connection. Now let's grab lunch. Now let's take it away from that third party having to be, the connector to making our own connections. And so when that happens, that's when conversion happens. That's when clients happen. So, you can kind of think of it like that as an in-person, but a lot of it's taking it from your YouTube comments to a DM, taking it from your YouTube comments to an email, whatever, vehicle that client or that target audience chooses, then you got to kind of slide in, but then you got to follow up, and then you have to expand from there. So a CRM is a great place to kind of build out those campaigns, build out those reminders, even if it's okay, send this text, congratulations, then we need to make this call, right? Then we need to send this email. And so you kind of have it in flow, and then everything stays consistent. You know that they're getting some auto responses. You know that you have to dive into that task list every day, and it keeps you organized, but it also helps you expand, right? It takes it from the DMs to a client relationship. It takes it from, that one friend hanging out to your own personal connection, where then you guys can kind of serve each other without having to have that telephone third party in. So you're saying, yeah, Jeremy, that sounds great. Well, here's my strategy. I really think your sphere of influence is your business, right? So if you don't have a sphere of influence, you don't have a business. Maybe that'll help you next time you answer that question, right? I have a bunch of pillars holding up. I have a bunch of avenues driving to my sphere of influence. My sphere of influence is where everyone sits. It's not just my kindergarten teacher and my buddies' parents and all the people that are local. My sphere of influence is my entire business. So if I meet you at an open house, boom, you're in here. If I meet you, if I've known you for my whole life, boom, you're in here. And so then once they're in the sphere of influence, it's like they're getting hit from all sides, right? I connect with them on socials. I send them, direct emails. Since they're connected with me on socials, they get 52 pings a year when I do my live Why Invest Wednesday, right? And then they get a weekly email that also sends them back to those socials, that sends them back to that video. And so that's, 52 live videos, 52 weekly emails. That's 104 touches right there. Then we have 2 client events a year. Then we have 8 mailers a year. And so as you can see, they're kind of starting to get it from all ends. And that's where, it happens, because you never know, right? One of my buddy's parents, who's a little bit older, may just be all about direct mail. They might not even have a Facebook or social media account, or, maybe they're super into email because they were, in their CEO days when email kind of came about, and they were, a little advanced and they had it. So you just never know where people are. And just because they're in a certain generation doesn't mean that you absolutely know that. So once you're in my sphere, you're going to get it from all angles. You probably won't get 150 touches like I have mapped out, but you'll probably get at least 100, which is absolutely, a ton more than most other agents are, because they don't have that organization. They don't have that ability to, okay, everyone's getting this, right? This is the mass marketing plan here. They're getting boom, 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 hit from all angles. And then that's where things really, really start to take off, because you're constantly top of mind. No matter where people are, right? And to say that it's super easy to get there and whatever, the thing about being newer is you have a smaller mailing list, so mailing's a little cheaper. Social media is free. Picking up the phone is free. Sending text is free. If you're partnered with us at our brokerage, a CRM is included in your monthly fee. So all of those things matter, and then you're just kind of weaving in and out and constantly hitting them at different areas. And they might see some stuff, they might breeze through it and throw it away in the mail. You never know, but when they see that JK, they, automatically are like, okay, that's Jeremy Real Estate, boom, and then gone. It's cool. But then maybe they're talking at a party that night. Hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Oh yeah, Jeremy, boom. Remember that, top of mind. Here's his number, connection made, referral closed. So that's huge. And why does this work, right? Because I'm able to get people into there without paying for internet leads, without paying for phone numbers and emails that are usually not accurate. And so I can have those connection points, and they're getting all of those connection points without, those new paid ads coming in and, having to sift through that. So I'm able to focus my budget and my attention on, the things that I'm doing for this group of people that I've established, because they already know, like, and trust me. And I don't necessarily have to always have this, hey, you don't know me, but here's my sphere. I don't have to have that part, because it's 10 to 15 contacts when you get a cold lead on the internet in order to even, bring them into your sphere, to even have them recognize your brand and know who you are. And so that's where, this kind of thing really works for me, because it's more personal. It's not just, throwing money at the wall and seeing what sticks. Now, this also allows me to have this over here and try out new things, right? We're trying out a new thing on 529s here, which, I'm super excited about, for using real estate instead of 529s to help with college funding and all of that. But you can try that stuff, but you have your general sphere, you have your base business over here, and that allows you to kind of do things and chop and change things and see if they can, somehow be funneled into that sphere of influence at some point. So the whole point of this is you must convert your follow-up and your process before you spend one more dollar on internet leads, before you make that move to the brokerage, because everyone's going to say, yeah, we have all this training. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the company that's known for the best training sticks you in a basement, says make 200 calls a day, convert those, go out and sell them, and we'll take 50% of your commission, right? That's the best training that's out there. So understand that having that ability to, turn back on the leads and start that flow is great, but you need to focus on your plan. How are you differentiating yourself from the other agent who's at that other franchise in the same model that's doing the same thing you are, calling on that same list? Because let's be real, they recycle the leads like crazy, whether it's at the brokerage level or the third party level. Those leads are often recycled and old leads. And so you need to make sure that you have a system, you have a different system to convert, so that you can get, your 1 to 2% up to 5 to 10%. And then all of a sudden you're building a living. Even though you are paying big splits for, the leads they're giving you. If you can convert that system and really develop a business, then the sooner you can go out and quit playing that big team split that absolutely hamstrings your real estate career. So I hope that helps for you. Get that system and make it personal. If you need any help or have any tips, I would love to sit down with you. I am a psychology major, so I like to, get to know people's personalities as well and incorporate those things in helping them build business. So please like, comment, subscribe, share this with any real estate agents if you're listening on the podcast, and give me a review when you can. We'll talk to you next time. Go get a win today. Bye-bye.